Hi, and welcome to a day in my life in my micro bakery and also cookie factory. My name is Fidelia, and I own and operate a cottage food / micro bakery out of my home. I opened my micro bakery about a year ago now, which is crazy to think about. I opened it in January, but I actually didn't start baking anything until I got my cottage food license approved by the end of February this year. And it's been such a wild ride, but I thought I would take you on a day in my life and what it kind of looks like. Every day is actually very different. So today was prep day for dough day, and I was also prepping a bunch of cookie boxes as I now ship my cookies across the United States. It's so crazy to say that, but I'm just so excited to share my cookies with you. Today I was prepping around 12 loaves of bread, and 6 of them were for my client, but 6 of them were also for just my household and my friends and family because we go through so much bread. But I've been starting my dough in the afternoon recently, and it's sort of changed my life. I used to start right in the morning, and I found that it was just messing up my entire schedule. I don't have any kids yet, and I have a pretty flexible schedule, so I can really start whenever. Basically, I've been feeding my starter the night before a 1-10-10 ratio or a 1-5-5, just depending on the weather outside. And then the next morning, right when I wake up, I will feed that starter a 1-1-1 ratio. And by the afternoon, my starter is peaked and ready to go. So you can see here I've been dumping my starter in my bins. I've also been using these taller bins, which has been helping me figure out my percentage rise. When you start making sourdough bread, it can be really confusing on your bulk fermentation, how long you should bulk ferment for, and I found that using these taller bins has been giving me a bit better accurate kind of percentage rise. If you are having trouble with your bulk fermentation, I would highly recommend looking at the Sourdough Journey's Instagram account and using the temperature chart. But I was just preparing my sourdough there, and then now I am working on my cookie boxes. So like I said earlier, I am starting to ship my cookies across the country. I started in the beginning of October, and you all have just blown my mind. Honestly, I really never anticipated shipping out this many cookies. And if you saw on my previous table, I only work with a 5-quart mixer, which hopefully I will be able to upgrade soon, but I can only make around 12 cookies at a time. It's kind of a lot, but you just kind of use what you have and then you grow from there. But I'm putting my boxes together, and this is for my November boxes, so I'm using this really fun fall festive tissue. Each month I change up my tissue on the inside, and I also change up the logo color on the top of my box. I just love keeping it really interactive for everybody, and I think it's a really amazing idea to just keep it really fun. And this month we have pumpkin pie with graham cracker chunks and caramelized white chocolate. If you head over to my Instagram account, you will be able to see pictures of that and also shop my cookie boxes. Each box comes with 6 cookies. They are around 125 grams each. They are big, chunky cookies. I prefer the big, chunky cookies as opposed to those flat cookies a lot of people bake, which is totally fine, but I just prefer those big, chunky cookies that are crispy on the outside and ooey, gooey, chewy on the inside. So if you're interested in shopping my cookies, just head over to my website or my Instagram. My website is linked down in the description below, as well as my Instagram account. Now I am just prepping my jalapenos and my cheddar cheese for the jalapeno cheddar sourdough bread. I actually think I added too many this time because when I dumped out my dough, it seemed a little wet. I'm not sure if that was just because of the jalapenos. It's never really happened before where my dough feels really wet. So I'm not really sure. If you have any suggestions for me, please put that in the comments. And I usually shred my cheddar cheese, but if I'm being honest, I was sort of lazy this week and I just did the cube method instead. But I do find that shredding your cheddar cheese is a lot better and it incorporates into the sourdough bread a lot easier. Now I'm just dumping out my bins. This takes longer than I think people actually realize. You see those dough dumps on Instagram or even on YouTube, and they go so fast, but mine take a little bit of time. I'm not sure if it's because of the bins that I'm using or just my recipe, etc., etc. I have no idea. And now I'm just weighing out my loaves. My loaves are around 930 grams each. They are big loaves, and I do this little method here where I do like a little stretch and fold, and then I fold it into a round and set it aside for around 25 minutes. That's my pre-shape. And then I will come back after that and do a final shape. I really prefer using the tartine method of shaping, and I will show you here what that looks like in just a second. I also don't think people realize, because I share a lot of my journey on Instagram, that my sourdough journey only started really a year ago, a little bit less than that, I think. And I kind of just picked it up and started my own sourdough starter. I made my own. I didn't buy a dehydrated one off of Instagram or off of some website online. I started my own, and it took me a very long time. It took me about a month to start my own starter, and I remember it being such a painful process just because every day you want to try to make sourdough and your starter is not ready. And I would love to go into maybe more detail about that and just even my sourdough journey and my microbakery journey down the line. I kind of have an interesting story. I was an actor, or I'm still an actor, and I spent 10 years of kind of my 20s in Los Angeles pursuing my acting career, but I will talk about that in another video. If you have any questions for me or comments, just put that in the comments and I will do another video kind of talking about my journey and what led me to starting my microbakery. But as you can see, this is the tartine method that I was talking about. I flip my dough over on its back and flip over the bottom, and then you can see here that I'm taking two sides, folding them over each other, and then I take the top there and I stretch it up over the entire sourdough. Then once you do that, I take the other two sides, and I have a close-up coming here so you can see a little bit better, but I flip those over and I stitch all of the sides together, and then I roll up the dough into a kind of like a boule shape, and then I just stitch the sides together. I can go into more detail again in another video about my shaping method, but there are so many videos on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube on how to shape sourdough, and a lot of people are doing the claddy clasp method. I think that's what it's called. I just love this process so much. If I'm being honest, shaping sourdough is maybe my favorite process of making sourdough. It's so therapeutic for me to work with my hands, and I love being reminded to take time to shape. So I actually really prefer this method because it slows me down, and it slows me down in the process. But after this, I put all of my sourdough loaves in their bannetons, and I let them rest in their bannetons for about 10 minutes, and then I do my final stitching on them as well. For my jalapeno cheddar sourdough loaves here that you see, I felt like they were a little underproofed, so I kept them in their bannetons for a little over like 10-15 minutes, and then I put them in the fridge. All of my loaves get cold proofed in the fridge, and then the next day they are all freshly baked. I'm really excited to share more of my journey with you here on YouTube. I love long form videos, and I feel like I can chat with you more about what's going on in my life, what the microbakery life is all about, and kind of just share more updates here. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, put some questions in the comments for me, and I'll shoot another video soon. I'm hoping to get out a video once a week. That is my goal, but I am kind of a one-woman show and doing a lot here and there. So I appreciate the patience. And if you want to shop my cookie boxes and have cookies delivered to your door, make sure you head over to my website. It's linked in the description, and I'm just so thankful that you guys are here and following my journey. I also post regularly on my Instagram account and my TikTok, so I will link all of those below for you. But thank you so much for following me, for cheering me on, and supporting my little tiny small business. I'm so excited to grow with you all, and I really can't wait to kind of see what happens in the new year. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.